Hello everyone and welcome to Document Scrolls 101. Today we're going to show you how to thread through the cord on your document style scroll. As I've mentioned before, these scrolls are the types that you would see for, say for example, a writ, most armigerous awards. These are the types that you would see in history as grants of arms and patent letters patent. They hang a wax seal on a cord. Usually that was with a paper tag, but there are some examples in later period in which finger loop braiding was used. We have a couple of different options here. I am personally familiar with the 5-strand method, which produces a nice clean horizontal line in 2 colors. This is a very quick finger loop braid to make, and I can show you how to do that later. We also have the 8-strand spiral, which is really cool looking. And as you can see, this one here is a little bit short because you're going to double up on it a little bit. But always make a little bit more cord than you need. In this particular case, we have an 8-strand that's purple and green. This one can be used in the diamond style pattern, which are done as 2 strands. But today we're going to work with the 5-strand. And we're going to show you how to thread this through, hopefully without damaging your paper. So right now this is a 14-inch wide document. That is standard framing size for width. And you can see it's a little bit over 9.5, so that's going to be a custom frame job. Standard frame size for the 14-inch will be 11 by 14. So this could potentially fit into an 11 by 14 scroll with the seal attached, but keep in mind that whenever you do a custom framing job, especially with the wax seal, your framer may charge you additional fees for what's called as shadow boxing, which takes the mat and lifts it up away from the paper and away from the wax enough to create a deep impression into the page and keeps the wax seal from touching the glass that is framing around your page. So let's start by centering up. I have this centered at the 7-inch line, and you can see here I have hash marks here and here. That's about as much as I'm comfortable with for lead at the top here. So I'm going to go from that little hash mark there, and I'm going to count out to either direction. So we're going to try to do the Y shape cord method. So we're going to do, let's go about here to here. So that's 1/4 inch plus 1/8. And we're going to go the other side here and here. Always make your tabs a little bit wider than your cord width. Reason for this is that it makes your cord easier to thread through, and also don't forget to take into account your cord's width. The thickness of your cord will also determine how easy it is to thread through the page. You're not just threading through one layer, but you're going to thread through both to secure your seal to the page. Okay, now let's move this down a little bit to this other hash mark. So we're going to do something similar down here. So let's say here and here. Okay. Now those are cut marks. Now you can also do an additional light cut somewhere smack in the middle, and also somewhere smack in the middle, and that one's already lined to the middle. The reason for this is, again, if your cord is thick enough, it's not going to come through the page easily, as would having a little plus shape mark. So the idea behind this is we want to try to make nice deep score into the page, so your thread, when it pulls through, does not actually rip the page. Okay. So start with a light score. Also, I recommend that if you have a cutting board for beneath your paper here, please use it. I don't mind scratching up my desk the way it is. It's a very old and very well-loved desk, but you know, it's entirely up to each person how they'd like to work with their work area. Also, if you don't have a utility knife, please feel free to use an X-Acto blade. You want to try to make nice precision cuts. In this particular case, mine is a little heavier handed. Okay. Just to show you what I mean about having to cut through 2 layers, you can see here, this is a very heavy score, this one's barely going through, and this one has not yet cut through at all. So if you want to speed up the process a little, you can, of course, once you've made that first score, take your knife and cut through. Just punch it, just lightly. But again, mind your fingers while you're doing this, don't stab yourself, please. Okay, and we're going to do one tiny score into the top part here. Tiny cut there, and tiny cut here. Okay, I'll do another one. Again, be very gentle. You don't have to punch your blade all the way through, just enough to make it start to go. Okay, you can see that there's a little score in each. So, there we go. That is the long cord. You want the short cord. So usually to start this, one of the things I sometimes do is I take latch hook kit and take the latch hook tool and punch from the other side. But in this particular case, I'm just going to use my fingernail a little just to worry it forward. Okay. So let's take my fingernail and pull this through. See it starting to come through there. Push it a little bit more. If you don't have fingernails, yes, you can use a blade, but as a blade will potentially cut your threads, I recommend being really careful. And let's go just a little bit more there. Okay, good. You can see you have that through a little bit there. Okay. And as I mentioned, now having the knot there is going to be a little bit of a problem. You don't have to knot your thread before creating your cord, but in this particular case I'm going to try to worry this through a little bit more. There we go. Okay. Alright, so we have the first part done there. Now we're going to do the same thing on the other side. And let's give this a nice long lead. Okay. scissors to start with. Just slipping that forward through a little bit. See, it's starting to come through. Pull a little bit, and you can use the cord to pull the rest of the way. See, the hook to pull the rest of the way through. And there we go. Okay, so now you have basically what looks like an M. Now you're going to take the little part of the M that hangs down in a loop and you're going to pull that through the front. Do the same thing that you did with the other two. Okay, like that, straighten out your cord a little bit. Good. Now you see there's a little loop there. Okay, take both sides of the M, the little arms, thread them through. It suddenly looks like a little bit of a triangle there with a W. Okay, make sure your ends are evened up. This can probably even get snipped later on, make it look nice and neat. We will pull these through so that on the opposite side there's at least some even tension there. And this, that little loop part, you pull down from the bottom part of the arms on the underside. Okay, so you see how that's nice and snug right there. And you just pull forward, pull down, and there you go. Your seal will probably go right about here, nice and close to the page, not too far down. And once you have it sealed on, after that point I recommend that you tie off your tassels, your tails, and you make your cuts. So that way it's a little bit more presentable. Thank you for joining me. My name is Leigh Whyte, Mistress Laurel Pelican from the Society of Creative Anachronism. I hope you've enjoyed this lesson, and please, if you have any questions, leave some comments for me in the comments section below. I'll be happy to help you as best I can. Thank you so much.